Masters of build-up that lead to nowhere for a job that never comes. What's
Masters
the job?
of deception.
Yeah. We don't really feel like we were not here, although it's like 8 years. It's longer than some bands like disbanding and then doing like a reunion tour. But the thing is that whenever like we make a new album, we always feel that we start again from zero, almost, that we are rookies, because everything changes between two records. The people, the way people listen to music, and we feel like we are discovering a new world.
It was really fun for me working on my solo record, and also it drove a bit like the way I entered the Hyperdrama spaceship with a fresh perspective.
As insiders, in a way, we feel that we are always making the same album over and over again, because I feel we've made like 4 albums, and all 4 of them are disco albums with a different suit a bit. And Hyperdrama is like a very, very simplified way of talking about it would be to say it's a disco record made with a hardcore techno sounds. In house and techno, we've always preferred like a Chicago house, ghetto house, because like these people, they come and they approach music almost devoid of any like preconception or like even technical knowledge, and when it works, this is when the best result happen, like in our opinion. So we've always been more drawn like to these styles of music that are the opposite of total knowledge on every aspect, like music theory, engineering and everything. Although sometimes we can listen to like, I don't know, like
Steely Dan
and really love it too. For this record, maybe more than the other ones, we really wanted like to work on loop-based music. We had like to really reduce our music until we would find that loop that we feel that we could listen to forever. So for a lot of the songs, we would write like a lot of different parts, and then just reducing everything until we have that one loop that we love and want to stick with. We really wanted the sound of this album to sound like it's one big thing, and you can't really separate like all the instruments. So for all the songs, we would like produce and record that the electronic part of it, then like process it, bounce it, import it again, process it, bounce it, import it again, like a lot of times. Then we would record its human played counterpart. Same thing, like writing it, producing it, mixing it, then putting it back into the track.
If you take Incognito, for example, like you really have this kind of switch, you know, from going to one mood to another. But it's something we always like to do, just to blur the lines a bit, like so people don't really know how it's made. And sometimes we try to make like the computer generated element like sounds as human and alive as possible, and vice versa.
But One Night All Night also generator are completely based on this principle that you have like the electronic part, the disco part. Like for in One Night All Night, I still don't know if I prefer like the midsection that is disco or funk, or like the main part. And then like White Shoes, we can put all of them and build a narrative at the same time. Of course, Tame Impala, Thundercat, Miguel are outstanding because like the names are familiar, but there's also Raymond, the Flints, and they haven't released their first albums. There's Conan Moccasin, which is he's like a almost cult musician. So they all have like different profiles. The process, it was always driven by music and never because like oh wait, like this guy is famous, maybe we can do some cross audience type of thing. These are all people that we've been like following, but we always felt that there was high compatibility between them and us, although they make music that is very, very different from us.
The funny thing with Kevin Parker is that when we first had like a very early batch of demos, we could tell that he was more attracted to the tougher stuff, and which makes sense because it's probably more, it's a bit further from what he's doing.
Yeah, we can't talk on his behalf, but we really felt that working with us was like he was looking for opportunities to really get out of his like what he knows how to do. And if you take all those people like also like Thundercat, Miguel, Conan, they are all people who always try like to challenge their music. Like Thundercat, for example, he has one foot in like very difficult like jazz music, you know, like if you go to see one of his shows, it's very challenging. And at the same time, he has like perfectly masters this kind of like soul, almost yacht rock sometimes type of music. Kevin, he can do like pop music, psychedelic rock, sometimes even dance music. Miguel is the same. Miguel has been doing like a grunge, R&B, industrial, rap, even singing like lines of Rod Stewart on A$AP Rocky songs. So like they are like very versatile. They're not one-trick ponies, and that's very refreshing. I mean, we grew up in the 80s. So all these kind of like space adventure themes, they are very close like to our hearts, but also like LSD, this type of stuff like feverish dreams, euphoria and melancholy like put together. So it's in that sense that we feel we're always making the same record. We never try to make a track for an album thinking like, okay, how would it sound in a club, or would it be good on the radio, or is it catchy or not, or can we make it more catchy? It's we really and honestly make things by the feeling of like, okay, like we're here, what do we want to have now? We are not really into social media, so for us it doesn't change anything. TikTok didn't exist at the time. It still doesn't for us in a way because we are not there. We are not consumers of that. We are totally like we are total strangers in this culture. Not saying that in a bad way at all. You know, it's there's no judgment on what it is because we don't know. It just belongs to a different generation, different kind of people. There's one part of the process that's always the same, is that we go back to our like all the catalog. We pick up like the songs that we think can make sense, and then we have to reconstruct them always because the technologies evolve so much between each tour that we can't take the same bass because it's not going to be the same machines operating things. It's not going to be the same systems. not gonna use the same instruments. Even 10 years ago, it was almost impossible to have like all instruments being played from a computer because computers were not powerful enough. So we always have like to go back, take Genesis or Stress for the 15th time, and take the stems from the album and start like remaking it. There's one part of the process that's always the same, and it sounds absurd, is that we have to learn how to play our own tracks just after like having finished them. So we go on to like, I don't know, like a generator, and then we have to learn how to play the chords and the bass and all this type of stuff. I would say it's even more work than making an album. There's nothing we miss, honestly, apart from having like a infinite endurance with everything. Yeah, to us, this album is still like a mystery and almost an anomaly. To us, it's like a great example of approaching things devoid of any knowledge, any preconception about anything. We made this album. It was our first album. We had never like produced, recorded, or mixed an album before. We made that, the two of us, not knowing anything. We just had bought a computer like maybe 2 years before. And in a lot of ways, this record, like in pure sonics, it doesn't sound good. You know, like every sound engineer will tell you that it sounds awful. And at the same time, it sounds great because, and for us, this is what mixing is. And we took that in account a lot when mixing this record. Is that mixing, of course, there's a part of sonic optimization, but the main part of it is and always should be like it's about like conveying the right emotions. When you mix a record, you're not here to make it sound good as possible. You're trying to make it sound as accurate as possible to the initial idea of a track. Like once in a while, we listen to record and we are really blown away by the way it's mixed. And only when we listen to it in a more like analytic environment, we actually notice that it doesn't sound amazing in terms of sonics, but they really manage like to put the things at the right spot so that it's very strong emotionally. We would like them to have the experience that's the opposite of watching an interview than listening to a record, which is to approach things free of any preconceptions and any spoilers and any ideas of what you're gonna listen to, and to allow yourself to be surprised.